And of course, Joe Biden's advanced age continues to be up front and centre in a series of headlines this morning coming out of the United States. This follows his media conference yesterday after that special counsel investigation announcement. Joining me is Washington Examiner White House correspondent Christian Datoc. Christian, we've got to unstitch all of this. Let's first go to this media conference this morning, and of course, the government trying to defend what happened yesterday. What do you make of it all?
Well, first things first, the White House was pleased, to quote President Biden, that Special Counsel Robert Hur did not bring charges in that classified documents investigation. But that was quickly swept to the side because of what Hur included in his own report. And again, like you mentioned, what we saw from President Biden when he was defending his own record. Hur basically says that the president has a failing memory, has faulty mental faculties. And because he can't possibly be put before a jury and those people will say, oh, well, he means well, he's just an elderly old man with a failing memory. That's one of the reasons we're not bringing charges. I think the White House, what they're doing in this press briefing that we watched right before we let into me, is again trying to push back on the idea that the sense of the story should be the lack of charges being brought against President Biden, not the fact that his memory appears to be failing us, not only in these public events, but also in private when he's sitting for interviews with FBI and other DOJ officials.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's done a stack wrong, does it really, looking at it? But him trying to come out and defend his memory and then getting the Mexican leader mixed up with the Egyptian leader. Look, we can all make mistakes. I make them every minute of my life like we all do. But there's an extra glare, isn't there, when you're trying to defend in that manner?
The glare is there, but it's almost a problem that the White House has inflicted upon itself. I think one thing that President Trump, politics fully aside, did better than President Biden was that he was constantly interacting with the press. Sometimes that was to his own detriment, but oftentimes when he would make these wildish, outlandish, off-the-cuff remarks, people would sort of look the other way because they'd say, oh, he does this 3 times a week. Because President Biden interacts with the press so infrequently, these mistakes that he's been making in recent days, weeks, and really over the entire course of his political career, they're put under a magnifying glass. So if President Biden were to hold more press conferences, sit for more interviews, not only might he be more practiced in the routine of remembering names of world leaders, people might be able to push these little gaffes to the side and say, okay, like you mentioned, Tim, everyone makes mistakes. This is just another day and he's a busy guy. But it's sort of a compounding problem that the White House certainly isn't helping themselves with.